Oh, now this is my Superman! Oh! What the hell going on here? You gooning to Superman?
It's about goddamn time this movie came out. Myself and countless others have suffered enough with being provided consistent slop thanks to the previous regime at Warner Brothers, wondering if characters like Superman would ever get the light of day after Justice League. Almost every live-action theatrical DC movie that's released after The Batman in 2022 has either been mediocre or just downright awful. So saying DC needed a win would be the understatement of the century. And now we're here with the first major movie under the leadership of James Gunn and Peter Safran of DC Studios, who aim to execute an 8 to 10 year plan of interconnected DC movies and shows via the DCU. We finally made it, and I'm happy to say that it actually might not be embarrassing to be a DC fan in the eyes of the general public for the foreseeable future.
What'd I say? What'd I say?
Is Superman a cinematic 10 out of 10 masterpiece that forever changes the superhero movie landscape? No, but I think it's a pretty solid entry.
No one's more creative than James Gunn.
One thing I liked was how unapologetic they were in showing how much Superman values the preservation of life and how devoted he is to save everyone. Whether it be a squirrel about to get smushed, a dog about to get stomped on, or just some random guy who gave him free falafel that one time. Literally shedding a tear over the death of someone he barely interacted with. Even with the kaiju itself, Superman didn't want to resort to killing it on the spot and suggested preserving it in an intergalactic zoo or something. It hones in on Superman's nature in wanting to spread kindness and become a beacon of hope, in contrast to the purpose his Kryptonian parents originally had for sending him to Earth. In an era where kindness is seen as old-fashioned, it's almost punk rock, as Superman puts it, to see the beauty in humanity as a whole. Sorry not sorry, but I kinda like how corny he is in certain moments. Just the little things like him going,
Good gosh! What the hey, dude? I thought you destroyed the whole...
Even more so in the post-credit scene, which I was a bit worried going into it like, oh boy, here comes a lame, unfunny gag. But what really did it for me was when he went, man, I could be such a jerk sometimes, after making Mr. Terrific feel like he was wasting his time. Like, that is so Superman to me, I don't know what to tell you. Had me in the theater like,
yo, bro, who got you smiling like that? Like, mad happy. Yo, come on, bro.
I do wish we got to see more of David Corenswet's Clark Kent persona in the movie, or at least I was kind of surprised at how little of Clark Kent was shown. There's only one scene in the movie where we see Clark interacting with Steve Lombard, Perry White, Jimmy, and Lois inside the confines of the Daily Planet. What we got with the crew wasn't bad by any means, and they didn't need to be a major focus or integral side characters to begin with. That being said, the story is still able to properly convey Clark's human elements in and out of the Superman suit, whether it be him cooking dinner for Lois to celebrate their 3-month anniversary, Ma Kent calling him on his way to work to congratulate him on getting a front page article for the Planet, seeing how vulnerable and emotional Pa Kent can be, and how much the Kents care for their adopted son. Really shows why Clark is who he is. It's because of the environment he grew up in that his Kansas parents created. That would be a very obvious indication that he's not going to have only one emotion throughout the movie's 2-hour plus runtime. Even though he's biologically Kryptonian, Superman is basically a human being at the end of the day. He's going to be happy, concerned, upset, scared, especially over the safety of his loved ones or the people around him. If this is going to be our Superman for the next 8 to 10 years, I think we'll be in very capable hands.
You're Groot. What's it called again?
Justice Gang.
That's a working name.
Could very well prove to be permanent, though.
The Justice Gang itself, as a collective entity, not the individual characters themselves, doesn't have a significant presence in the movie, but it's not like the group's completely useless or doesn't contribute much to the plot. I think the group has an adequate amount of screen time that effectively serves the story and the characters. Obviously, they help out with the giant kaiju near the beginning and come in clutch near the end to help in the Jarhanpur conflict. Nathan Fillion absolutely nailed it as Guy Gardner. I better not see any complaints about his performance. You read his appearances in any Green Lantern comic or in Justice League International, for example, that cockiness and smug arrogance is translated directly onto the big screen. Talking about some, haha, yeah, sorry, Superman ain't here, but you got an upgrade.
Boy, if you don't get...
This is definitely a character I would like to see more of in the DCU. Out of the 3 members of the Justice Gang, the one with the most urgency in the plot is unsurprisingly Mr. Terrific, as James Gunn hinted at Michael Hoult being the most important of the supporting metahumans. There's one scene in particular where Mr. Terrific takes Lois to the military post that was the last marked location of Superman's whereabouts before he gets captured in the Pocket Universe. That nigga was just oozing aura all throughout. The fight scene where he's fighting off Lex Luthor's raptors with just the use of his T-spheres and hand-to-hand combat was absolutely peak. Had me in the theater like,
you're so cool, bro. I just like, bro.
Even though he doesn't have any superpowers and solely relies on his athletic ability and intelligence, you can see why he's a member of the Justice Gang to begin with. The way James Gunn was able to utilize Mr. Terrific has me really excited to see characters like Batman in the DCU. I'm not expecting Batman's tech to be as advanced as Mr. Terrific's, but it goes to show you how the more quote-unquote street tiers can be effective in dealing with superpowered individuals or threats, with their unique use of gadgets and weaponry. While Hawkgirl's in the movie the least out of the group, I don't really have any complaints about her portrayal and would definitely like to know more about her backstory and lore in this universe. She definitely helps establish how differently certain heroes operate compared to someone like Superman. She'll kill you on the spot if you're enough of a threat, whether you're a giant monster or a corrupt president of a country. Metamorpho technically doesn't become part of the team until the very end, after the heroes are commended for their efforts in helping the innocents during the Jarhanpur-Bravia conflict, but the way his power set was showcased throughout the movie I thought was really well done. Seeing his knowledge of different chemical elements and using that to his advantage to fight off Lex's raptors. We're even going as far as making something that's similar but not exactly like the Yellow Sun, just to give Superman enough juice in the Pocket Universe. Metamorpho is already one of the biggest powerhouses in the DCU and should not be trifled with. Now we gotta talk about the big baddie of the movie, Lex Luthor.
Your obsession with me is getting a little creepy.
Don't worry. Tall, dark, and Martian isn't my type.
Cinema.
Similar to Superman, but on the opposite end of the morality spectrum, I love how unapologetically ruthless this Lex is. Immediately the first scene I think of is when he's playing Russian roulette, not with his own life, but with some random guy on the street he saw go out of his way to help Superman after he fought the Hammer of Bravia, toying with his life just to get to Superman. These are the levels of hatred I didn't even know could be achieved. Literally went out of his way to do a face scan just to ID him, find his whereabouts, and put him in the Pocket Universe just to torment Superman. Absolutely disgusting, you love to see it. Nicholas Hoult's performance as Lex Luthor is nothing other than top notch. This is honestly the first time in a live action movie where you not only get to see his profound hatred for metahumans and Superman specifically, but also how he utilizes his scientific genius in a really chaotic manner. Having technology and discovery so advanced, he's able to create kaijus that can grow overnight, literal pocket universes used to capture metahumans and anyone who would dare to oppose him. He literally put one of his ex-girlfriends in the Pocket Universe for writing a negative blog about him. Dude was genuinely seething after finding out Superman escaped from his cell, and even at the end, he was shedding a tear at the fact that people were taking Superman's side after the truth of Lex's actions were released to the public. All that effort in orchestrating an entire international conflict, generating hate online to tarnish Superman's reputation, allowing the deaths of countless innocent lives via the rift and trying to open the Pocket Universe again, justifying letting them perish because they chose Superman.
They chose him. Let them die.
Fucking diabolical.
Niggas gonna say I'm glazing. Couldn't care less, you can cry all you want about it. This is probably the best live action Lex Luthor in a theatrical movie.
Glazing? Glazing? Is this a word?
May I just say, my boy James Olsen was the surprise MVP of the Daily Planet. This is definitely the best Jimmy Olsen on the big screen. Not really saying much considering in most live action Superman movies Jimmy doesn't do much. His connection to Eve Teschmacher quite literally helped in leading Lois and Mr. Terrific to the Pocket Universe, as well as outing Lex Luthor for the scumbag he is to the general public. I think Skylar Gisondo perfectly captures the Jimmy Olsen spirit in a modern setting, not only in his portrayal but also just straight up looking the part. No complaints on my end. As for Lois Lane, Rachel Brosnahan absolutely killed it. The chemistry between Superman and Lois Lane was on point, which is to be expected considering the lengths the casting director and James Gunn went through to find the perfect Clark and Lois pairing through numerous screen tests and auditions. It definitely feels like an actual relationship where Lois doesn't feel like a chip on Superman's shoulder or a footnote of a character. She challenges him when need be and demonstrates her strive to seek the truth and have less of a somewhat simplistic viewpoint on world events when compared to someone like Superman, who seeks to help those in need, regardless of any political ramifications that may come his way. The one minor thing I was left questioning relates to the revelation about why Superman's Kryptonian parents sent him to Earth in the first place. I'm fine with them changing the true intentions of Jor-El being more sinister in nature, hoping that Kal-El would rule over Earth without mercy mercy rather than serve humanity for a better future. I'm also okay with Lex using that as a means of ruining Superman's reputation, as that would realistically raise a lot of suspicions and call into question Superman's actions to the general public who don't know his true intentions. My only question is, how exactly did the forensics team decipher Kryptonian dialect? I know this is probably a silly question considering the main bad guy in the movie was able to create a whole pocket universe, but I'm just wondering what basis the government may have been provided by Superman in order to translate the Kryptonian language. Were there certain messages translated beforehand they've been in contact with? Some sort of Kryptonian alphabet? Any artifacts? We know the government and Lex Luthor know about kryptonite, but I think that's kind of it. Mr. Terrific acknowledges the achievements of the forensics team, stating how they're pretty efficient at what they do. Lex Luthor also stated that 28 of the world's top linguists teamed up to translate the message, along with 30 of the world's leading computer forensic experts. But I'm just left wondering how they were able to translate an alien language without any reference point. I guess it's possible that the engineer with her nanites was able to gather the English translation of the first half of the message, since we see the Superman robot speak the translation while healing Superman. Thus, that might have been used to help the forensics team decipher the rest of the message. As for the other Kryptonian in the movie, it was expected, but I did enjoy Supergirl's cameo at the end, confirming that the foster situation in question is just Superman taking care of Supergirl's dog. From that scene alone, you can already tell how different Kara is going to be compared to Clark, having more of an edge as indicated by Gunn several months back when talking about her upcoming solo movie, setting the stage for the Woman of Tomorrow adaptation, where the comic begins with Kara on a planet with a red sun, getting drunk as she celebrates her 21st birthday. But from the way Superman and Robot 4 describe it, it seems like she does this regularly or somewhat routinely, and her reactions to Crypto definitely explain a lot as to why he was so reckless with Superman throughout the story, seeing how he likes to play rough with Kara, so when he sees Superman, after spending a lot of time with Kara, Crypto would instinctively act in a similar way. Overall, I thought the core of the narrative was well executed, solid beginning, middle, and end. Decent pacing, never got bored at any moment while watching the movie. There's obviously going to be humor, but I don't think it's overbearing, nor do I recall any moments where the humor negates any serious scenes, or doesn't allow for emotional moments to thrive. I think it's inserted when need be. So yeah, I can rest easy knowing that the movie spearheading a brand spanking new DC universe doesn't suck. Good job, Gunn.
Nice entrance. Solid 8 out of 10.
Probably like an 8.5 for me on the low end. I think we're in for a treat with the next long-term iteration of Superman and Lois Lane. I can't wait to see more of this version of the character in future projects. He'll probably have a cameo in Supergirl, similar to how Kara showed up in his movie. James Gunn confirmed that Superman is set to appear in the next project he's currently writing, which isn't a direct sequel to Superman, but it's connected, so who knows what that'll be. I'm just relieved that the DCU is off to a solid start.
I finally rest and watch the sunrise on a grateful universe.